This is my master plan to go from $30,000 a month in revenue to $100,000 in revenue. It's not yet to rule the world, but I'm going to get there in the end. Haha. And this master plan is approved by several people who I spoke to who are a couple of steps ahead of me. They said it's a good plan. So I thought I'm going to share it with you so that you can, if you're on a similar trajectory, if you run a consulting coaching company, anything that sells high ticket B2B services, maybe you can take a couple of notes here, because I think that this plan is pretty solid. And I already see the first stirrings of it working. So I hope this is going to be useful for you. When it comes to getting from 0 to 30,000 a month, this is a topic of another video. Plus, I'm sure I'm going to be producing many more other episodes on this very same topic, but you can look at the video that is entitled "The #1 Driver for More B2B Sales." It's linked in the description or in the show notes. But for the time being, let's focus on the jump from 30 to 100K. Step number 1 that I plan to take is remove complexity. Alex Ramosi says you should have one product, one avatar, one channel. Now, I'm going to diversify it a little bit on the channel side. I do have YouTube, I do have Outbound, I have LinkedIn. Those are my 3 main channels that I get clients from. But I do believe that the one product, one avatar is really, really important, because right now I'm selling 2 different products. I'm selling done-for-you agency work as well as a coaching package. And I see how these 2 things, they don't really completely meld with each other. And I see how they create a lot of complexity. And that is keeping me from doing more outreach, doing more sales calls. Ultimately, I do believe in a hybrid program there, because I see how many people who we take through the coaching program end up being very successful, and then they need more done-for-you services. Somebody, for example, to help them with their content. So there is a case to be made for combining these 2 things and not doing pure coaching, but that is part of the evolution of the product, working on the product, that I plan to take as one of the later steps. But initially, it would be to reduce complexity and, at least for the time being, to stop or limit the engagement, at least not take on any more clients that are purely done for you, right? There always should be the push towards one single unified product. So that is one thing. And I see this with many people. This is probably the #1 thing that keeps them from growing, is a complexity of products, service packages that truly add so much complexity to their day-to-day. One client needs this, another client needs something completely different, so that you don't really have ways to train new people to do the work for you, to create systems that can create the, let's say, any kind of processes for the clients, make it more efficient. And this also means I will need to sacrifice some revenue, right? That is for anyone who's reducing complexity, who's saying, okay, we're going to focus on that one product that is responsible for the vast amount of our profit. Let's only focus on that, and let's sacrifice the remaining revenue. That's perfectly normal, and that is a step that I will be going through as well. Step number 2 is outsource sales calls. At this point, I already have someone who is booking the sales calls in the first place, and I have to do relatively little work to maintain that system. But of course, sales calls themselves take up quite a lot of time, and this is time that I would rather spend on working with existing clients and building product and building content. So this is the first thing that will have to go. And this will also mean this will be the main thing that will require a lot of additional time from me. So I'm going to be very busy for a 1 to 2 month period where I ramp up my sales call volume to a level where I see, okay, I'm able to book 4, 6 sales calls a day, so that this could feed one sales call person, right? I want to have someone who will be working exclusively with me, selling my product, really learning the intricacies of my client, their pain points, their problems, so that they can become true specialists and learn to close much better than I can. And in order to do this, they need to be able to feed a family. Plus, I want somebody really very competent. So I want to get the best person I can get. This means if we book, let's say, to keep it simple, to book 5 sales calls a day, and if they end up closing at 20%, which is the goal to get them to, they will probably close at a lower rate. This will mean 5 clients a week, 20 clients a month. I'm going to pay them approximately 15% of commission of the sales deal, which is $7,500. And maybe this is going to increase, but generally that's roughly the amount that I'm planning to pay. Well, this means that they will be making 20,000. I think that most salespeople would be very happy with a revenue of 20,000 a month. That is the place I want to get them to. Well, in order to prove that I can do that, I first need to be able to book 4 sales calls a day myself. Now, I'm not currently at that level, not because I cannot, but because right now I'm just too busy with delivering to many different clients. As I mentioned, there's the complexity that I simply cannot afford to have 4 sales calls a day. because it just would take up too much of my time. I also need to serve existing clients. But to get to 4 sales calls a day, I need to ramp up my outreach. There's systems to be built there as well. There's new people to be hired to do that outreach. And so all of that requires quite a bit of work. The goal is ultimately to have complete outsourced client acquisition so that I only work with existing clients and create content to build my personal brand. So that is the biggest and most work-intensive step that I will take on this journey from 30 to 100K. By the way, if you enjoy this and if this is interesting, please like this video or share this episode if you're listening to it on a podcast, and share something in the comments. What do you think have I forgotten? Is there some step that you plan to be taking to get to a higher revenue level? I'd love to hear from you. All right, let's get to step 3, systematically remove myself from all forms of reactivity. This is one of those things that I'm not terribly good at. I very frequently check my emails, I check my LinkedIn messages. And for example, what happened today is that somebody reached out to me on LinkedIn, complete stranger, came via referral and said, hey, I think I would need your help. And so what did I do? I answered them and I offered a call pretty much immediately. I just had a 3-hour free window and said, let's go on a call. That was a mistake. I should not have done that. And that happens quite frequently. The less I will do it, the more I will be in content production mode and product improvement mode and process design mode, the better. I cannot be so reactive to people who just cross my path. It's okay to do that when you're on a journey towards 30K, but from 30 to 100K, there needs to be much more rigor and discipline in your day. Cannot be, especially in this kind of business where you have multiple clients, you need to be more structured. I'm talking to myself now, and not allow this kind of reactivity to take over. How will I do this? Well, very simple. I will have to hire somebody to do this for me, to manage my inbox, to manage my LinkedIn account. I will not go into LinkedIn whatsoever. There will be another person doing this for me because my time is better spent on these high value, high leverage activities. Step 4, and this is the really big one here, improve the product. The point of removing myself from all of this reactivity, from actually removing myself from sales calls as well, is so that I can work on the product. I'm very happy with where the product is right now. We've worked with over 100 people now, and every single person who has done the work that we prescribe has had at least a 3 times return on their investment. Very often it was way more within the 6 months of working with us. So I'm very happy about that. What I still believe that there are minor things in specific areas that could be improved. And I keep seeing how, for example, clients make regularly the same mistake when they go through one specific module. So there are like small things to be tweaked here and there that once you do them systematically, the product will really improve from like a 90% there to 95, 97, 98. And I believe that in those little increments, in making the product so extremely good, this is where the vast majority of leverage is found. Like if somebody goes through the program and is so thoroughly impressed that they will actually proactively talk about it, that they will mention it to their friends and say, dude, this program is amazing. You just should absolutely check it out. If I don't even have to ask for referrals, that is the place I want to get to. Right now, we're getting referrals. Like, as I mentioned, today's LinkedIn approach was a referral, but these don't come yet often enough, right? I want to be in a place where I don't have to pay anything for client acquisition. People will just come into my calendar because of referrals and because of content. It's a big goal, and let's hope that I'm going to get there at some point. Right now, everything inbound and referral based could feed us, which is great. I love that. But of course, it's not enough to build proper, generational wealth. And so this is why I'm still doing outbound. And this is why I want to grow from 30 to 100K. So how will I be improving the product? Well, as I said, there are a few tweaks that need to be applied. Maybe a couple of modules need to be completely rethought. Some of them are, let's say, 6, 7, 8 months old, and I have new lessons that I've learned, so I need to update them. All of that is great, is work on the product itself. However, there's also meta work to be done on the product. For example, I want to start tracking specific metrics that show the quality of the product. For example, right now, we're not tracking the following metric, like success, number 1. And the second way to work on the product is a little bit more meta, where I'm starting to track metrics that speak to the quality of the product on objective terms. I want to start collecting data about the product. So for example, one is success rate across the board, right? I mentioned that every single person who has done the program and who has done all the work, that they have had at least a 3 times return on their investment. Well, how about those people who came in and then ended up not doing the work? Sure, some of them were that they had like whatever, an influx of inbound clients and they stopped doing outbound. That's fine. But are there ways how I could increase the overall rate of people who actually take action? Right? There is a certain percentage of people who don't. How can I minimize that? Which of these non-action takers could have been prevented if the program had more bells and whistles, had more, I don't know what kind of factors I could improve. I need to talk to my clients who haven't done the work and then subsequently improve the product. So that's one metric to track, the success rate across the board, and gradually improve it. Another metric I need to track is time to client, right? How long does it take the average client to get a client on their own? Right now, we're not tracking that. It could be all over the place, but it would be good to know. And then finally, referral rate. We're getting a lot of referrals through, but we want even more, and we want to gradually improve that, because that kind of metric is a great sign that the product is really landing with people and that they love it. So these three metrics I have started to track, and I will need to do more of. This is working on the product. More work that needs to be done on the product. I already mentioned that I want to create something of a done for you with coaching hybrid. It seems to be where the market is going. Sometimes I get people on sales calls who say, oh God, not another thing where I have to watch videos and I have to do some kind of work. Very interesting. That's an interesting signal from the market. What can I do so I keep the video watching to a minimum and at least can take over some of the work from the clients and give them to somebody who can execute on that? Okay, so it's another way how to improve the product, how to kind of strategize about it. All of this takes time, and I want to have the time to work on this. That's why I'm outsourcing sales calls. Another way to improve the product. I mean, there's so many different ways how I can do this, but just so that you see the way I'm thinking about it. Also, I'm thinking of turning the program into something that is a little bit more aspirational. I would like to have some form of certification at the end of it. That's a little bit of like a long shot goal, but imagine if somebody came in and then actually were proud that they graduated from this program, that they have this client acquisition skill set that before they didn't have, and that they're even proud to display. Wouldn't that be interesting? How can we create that? That would be quite cool. Final element in product improvement is that I want to remove the need for one-to-one calls. This is what we do very much in the beginning with our clients, and it's usually a manifestation of a suboptimal onboarding journey. If people need several one-on-one calls, it means I probably have not done the best work I can in the strategy and positioning modules upfront in the program. We kind of now compensate for it, and people are very happy that they get this one-on-one attention, but of course it's also a bottleneck for growth. So that's just another way how to improve the product, right? So there's constant tweaking going on, and that's what I want to dedicate most of my time. And then step 5 is to do way more content, ramp up the content machine. Right now, I'm doing 6 LinkedIn posts a week and 1 YouTube video and 1 newsletter. That's fine, but it's pretty bare bones, right? Ideally, I would be publishing at least 3 videos a week, several shorts, and just maybe be also active on Twitter. That's currently like my midterm plan, where I believe that this could actually really easily get me to 100,000 a month. And the more I think about it, I actually don't want to be running paid ads ever. I think you can absolutely make an amazing living and to become a multimillionaire just by building a very solid personal brand and doing organic, non-paid outreach, cold email, cold DMs, having setters. I don't like the idea of shoving down money to the big tech companies' throats, and I'd much rather spend the money on setters who are people all around the world who I'm helping feed their family. If this is how I'm spending my client acquisition cost, I'm way happier than spending $20,000 a month on Facebook ads. So that's one big benefit of doing organic outreach. Plus also, I believe that it just makes you a better person when you are forced to build your personal brand, right? You just strip away so much debris and ballast that you don't need, and you just truly present your best possible version to the outside world so that people want to be working with you. You don't achieve that by doing paid ads. There's one guy who I know in Germany who is practically only doing paid ads, and like his public persona is pretty crap. He's like this mercenary type. I don't want to be part of that. I want to be able to put out a video. That's a long-term goal, right? That I put out a video, a tweet, and then just based on that, I mention an offer and people will just buy because they trust me. They believe that what I have to offer is really valuable for them. That is my goal. I don't want to be paying for people's attention. I want to be earning it. And so my long-term goal, although it will take me longer. I could get to 100,000 much faster if I paid for ads. And so I'm willing to absolutely wait for a much longer period before I get to those 100,000 because I want to do it by earning it. And content truly is the tool that will move the needle the most in the long run. I could absolutely imagine that once I'm making millions a month, that then I will also add ads to it just to kind of boost the system. That's fine. Then I can just completely outsource it. I'm just going to tell someone, hey, you know what? Also run ads for me. And that's going to be it. Right now, I would have to study it, and I don't want to study it. I'd much rather study the art of earning attention via great content. I know I have a ton to learn there still, because as I said, we're just now barely making maybe like 10, 15K a month purely from content alone. That's not enough. I need to grow this. And this is what the most fun part of the work is. So in summary, this is my current pie chart of time. I'm currently spending around 40% executing for clients. It means having coaching calls, doing done for you, some done for you work. I don't do much of it, but some of my done for you clients still require that. About 30% of my time is spent on client acquisition, checking in with my setters, making sure that the emails are going right, doing sales calls. That is currently 30%. 20% is on creating content. 5% is on improving the product, and the remaining 5% is on managing the team and doing some admin. What I see myself doing at about 100K a month is the vast majority of it will be content creation and product improvement. I say this it's very similar. These two things are sort of very intertwined, because a great YouTube video that I do could also be the fodder for another module in my content portal. I believe that in the long run, content will be less and less valuable in terms of what people pay for. What people will pay for will be the personalized advice and the implementation of what I know, but the content itself will become less and less valuable. There's a couple of exceptions. For example, I would never publicly show what are our call setting methods, because there the problem is if too many people do it, then it loses its effectiveness, right? Very often you're sort of at the edge of what people do, and I want to always be at the innovative edge, and that means that I cannot be sharing this kind of stuff for free, but most other stuff, pretty much everything else, how to run a good sales call, how to set strategy, what is a good offer. All of those are topics that I can absolutely also publish as free content. That kind of stuff will become less and less valuable. The value will be lying in the personalized advice and in implementation. So content and product improvement will go hand in hand. 70% of that I want to spend my time when I'm at 100K a month. 20% will be actually working with existing clients, and 10% will be on managing the team and doing admin. That's going to be unavoidable. But here you see how I shifted from the 70% of working with existing clients and client acquisition combined, how I shift that over to working on the product and on content. And I really believe that this is the shift you need to make when you go from 30 to 100K or any kind of similar jump. The jump is from doing the actual work towards more thinking. Any kind of brain output is the main thing that will move the leverage needle the most. And the next few months will be the transitioning from the old pie chart into the new one. This is how I plan to change my time allocation. And that is it. Those 5 steps, I believe, will get me from 30 to 100K. I hope this was useful. If it was, please give it a like, share it with a friend, and I see you in the next video.